Hi guys, today I want talking about and present to you in the return to the basics what is a ORM and what is entity framework also. So let's go. ORM it's the object mapping. Okay, sometimes we use this, and the definition is in computer science. It's a program technique for converting data between incompatible type systems. Okay, of course, using the approach of the object-oriented programming approach. Okay, and language. So this creates an effect or a virtual object database in your business logic. Okay, can we use it for from within the programming language in that, okay, to create this. So in .NET exists ORM also, and this another, but the entity framework it's supported by a large community and Microsoft itself. So entity framework it's an object relational mapper that enables .NET developers to work with a database using .NET objects. So it eliminates the need for most of that access code that developers usually need to write. Okay, sometimes we need to write, for example, the store, the open connection, close connection, for example, and a lot of other codes we must create, and using the entity framework or one ORM permit us to don't create this all this code. Okay, so guys, let's go see documentation in also in the entity framework and versions exists in entity framework itself. Okay, so exists a page, entity framework documentation page. I will put that in the description of this video. So exists currently two versions of entity framework, some variations about the way to create your mapping is store database, or make the mapping code first and the database first, or for example these two approach between the entity framework it's entity framework core it's a version to use with .NET Core. Okay, it's possible also you use that with on application in .NET, and the other is .NET Framework, and port, for example, from .NET Framework to .NET Entity Core, and so on. So to choose this, is this also a support page with compared Entity Framework Core and Entity Framework 6. So feature of comparison, a lot of things to it's possible to you to analyze if you need the entity code entity you need the entity framework 6 or entity framework core and so on so on. So try to understand this difference and choose what you need for your projects. Okay, so to have also the entity framework documentation here, and here of course the documentation to entity framework 6, okay, the API itself and the get started. Okay, so let's go to do something in the code, for example create the install the entity framework in your code. Okay, let's do this in the Wars application to manage the users and manage members in in their application I has been created and using this tutorial and samples. Don't forget, this exists in GitHub. It's possible to you to see all the codes and of course use it. So guys, to install the entity framework, for example, I will install the version, use the Pack Manager console to install it. The version I will install is the 6.20, okay? And to do this, it's tools, For example, here pick package manager, open this window, and here use install package manager entity framework. I will install, but give me the message, tell me, okay, this is already exist in your project because I has been installed in this solution. But another point, for example, guys, if you want the NuGet gallery to find all versions of Entity Framework 6, for example, it's here to using pack managers, .NET CLE, package reference, package CLE if you want. I use this, okay, and put in my, of course, pack manager in console in Visual Studio. So today it's is this is simple, keep simple, and of course don't forget subscribe the channel, put thumbs up and like or what you want, and give me your feedback and comments, and follow me in the Canting do.net. It's Portuguese channel, but I try explain my best in English. Sometimes make some errors, I know, but guys, it's not my mother language, so I'm sorry about that. I try improvement myself. Bye, see you soon, and thanks.